I have a question for you that is almost guaranteed to spark some real internal reflection that is going to help you actually decide and recognize what's important to you, what your purpose might be, to feel more connected to yourself, to realize your true potential. And essentially, it's such a simple question, but when we think about it, all of the conditioning, the narratives, the societal pressures, the rush we feel from society, it all really gets in the way of us really living a life true to us, believing in ourselves, going after what we really want, doing the things that scare us, and allowing ourselves to be pushed to our true potential. A lot of us are just asleep in life. A lot of people are sleeping. A lot of people are really living a life based on fear and what society tells them to do, and in a deeply rooted place of self-doubt. And I get it, because I was there for so long. For so long, I had the blinders on in my life. I followed the crowds. I did what felt safe. I never took risks. I really put a lot of emphasis on what my body looked like and how people perceived me and what people thought of me. And I was constantly afraid of being judged and of being, not accepted by other people, when in reality, what I really needed to do was go within and accept myself for me, give myself my own validation, approve of myself, and just give myself permission to fully live in alignment. And this is the piece of, living in alignment that a lot of us are missing. So the question that I think will help to trigger almost just like waking up in your life of like, whoa, what is actually important to me is, what would you do today if you knew you couldn't fail? What would you do today if you knew failure wasn't bad, or if failure wasn't an option, or if failing actually were to bring you closer to where you want to be? What if failing was a good thing? What if we started to view failing as learning about what we do like, what we don't like, what works, what's not working, what feels good, what feels forced, what's, maybe needing a little bit of fine tuning? What path do we actually want to be on? What's really important to us? What do we value in our life? What if trying and failing simply just brought us closer to where we actually want to be? Reflecting on that helps you see that because we are so deeply afraid of failing because it's been deemed bad, or you should be so afraid of failing, you should not be a failure, all these things, we don't even try. We're afraid to try. We're afraid to try for a bigger life. We're afraid to ask for more. We are limiting ourselves. We doubt ourselves. We don't think we're worthy. We don't believe that the life we envision for ourselves and the goals that we have and, the visuals that we see in our mind of what we actually do desire, we don't think we're worthy of those things because we're afraid to fail. We're afraid to try. We're afraid to take the risk. We're afraid to listen to ourselves. We're afraid to go within, sit with ourselves, and not be distracted by all the outside noise. And why do you think society keeps us glued to our phones, distracted, disconnected from ourselves, living in fear, living in lack? All of these things keep us disconnected from our true selves. Because really, at the end of the day, the most successful people, and once again, success is whatever you think success is, you also get to define that word. But the people who are living in alignment, the people who have the most, or who are living the life that they really want, they were not afraid to fail. They were not afraid to make mistakes, to try something and maybe it didn't work out, to put themselves in the line of action and learning and growing and evolving and just trying really, really loudly, because it's scary. It's human nature to be afraid of judgment and people saying mean things about you and not being accepted and not being fully approved of or validated in an external way. Because when you think about how we were, how evolution kind of shaped our brains when we used to live in tribes, we needed to be accepted in the community. Like, our life literally depended on it. So if we look at it in a sense of biological evolution, we don't need to be accepted by everyone anymore. We don't need to be approved of. We don't need everyone to like us. And actually, if everyone does like you, then there's a really good chance that you stand for nothing. Because if you, let's say, have haters or people who naysay against you, it just means that you have your values at your heart, and it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Like, you are forging your path regardless. So start to ask yourself, today, focus on today. What is present for me today? What would I do today if I knew there was no such thing as failure? Or if it feels better to ask yourself, okay, if failure was a good thing, what would I do today? What if failure was a marker of actually making progress and getting closer to where you want to be? Shifting that perspective takes you out of the fear, takes you out of the lack, takes you out of the victim mindset of just you are the creator of your life. You create your reality, and whatever is important to you is all that matters. Nothing really matters. All that matters is what you give meaning to. It's just the truth. So what would you do today if you knew you wouldn't fail, and if you knew that failure actually would bring you closer to where you truly want to be? And also, what would you hope for and wish for and desire in your life if you knew you couldn't fail? Think big. Don't judge it. Don't limit yourself. Whatever comes up, that is in alignment for you. I'd love to hear in the comments, what would you do today if failure was not a thing? Let me know.